Finance for the everyday millennial. Hard-charging solutions. We provide an accelerant in the journey towards financial independence.
Welcome to Cassian with Cassian, the financial forum for young professionals. Today, we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, finance with my friend, Miss Sheena Parker. If you've ever wondered what it's like in the day of an entrepreneur, you're about to find out. Sheena is the founder and CEO of Foresight Industries, a facility support services government contracting company. She founded her company after working as a real estate investor and acquisitions manager for 5 years. Sheena holds a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in project management. She has recently retired as an Army Signal Warrant Officer, which frees up a little bit more time for her to spend enjoying her plants, reading, meditating, traveling, and spending time with her family. The thoughts, comments, and opinions that Ms. Parker is about to express are the sole responsibility of Sheena. Also, nothing discussed today should be taken as personalized financial advice. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Can you kind of walk us through your day as an entrepreneur? This is a question, it's a question as I pose it to people in various professions. Usually it starts with, I get up, I get ready to go to work. But as entrepreneurs, it's kind of different. Some do go to work, some stay home. So can you kind of just walk us through the day in the life of Sheena?
Yes, my office is in my home, so I'm fortunate with that. And I do go to the gym at least, I try to go 4 days a week. So my day starts at 4 a.m. and I get up, go to the gym reluctantly every single day. And then while I am in the sauna, I am checking emails because that just at least helps me get prepared for what is to come because I try not to look at my phone before I go to the gym or else I won't make it inside of the gym. So I'm checking emails and then I get my coffee and then I go back home, I do my hygiene, and then I am in my home office combating all the fires that may or may not be present. And then usually by that time, it's almost time for my team to clock in like 8 or 9. So then I am going into all the things of the day, depending on what day that is. That's either a meeting or I try not to have too many meetings a week, but that's either a meeting or just catching up on some things that I may have left from the day before, and just trying to build connections and doing my calls. And my day, I try to end it at a reasonable amount of time. Since I do government contracting, the government pretty much works from 9 to 5. So I try to keep my schedule from 9 to 5, and anything extra is done after those hours. So my day can vary from 4 a.m. to midnight or 4 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Man, that is intense. First off, Army to Army, we're not super shocked at 4. Time to time, that is when our day starts. I'm sure a lot of people were like, 4 a.m., there's no way. But as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you can attest, and you already said it, that your day can start whenever you need it to start and end whenever you need it to start. I think that's probably one of the best things about being an entrepreneur. I want to focus a little bit on the fluidity of your schedule and how much time you dedicate toward networking. Because as an entrepreneur, if you're not growing your business, you're dying, right? So how much time are you dedicating to networking throughout the day?
There's really no set time. What I do have a program manager, and one of her responsibilities is to build our network, whether it's with subcontractors or trying to become a sub under another company, just building partnerships there. But really where my sweet spot is going to conferences and being a part of programs. Like I am a program junkie. I've been a part of the Goldman Sachs 10K SB, the SBA Thrive Emerging Leaders Program, Bunker Labs, IBMF, and all their programs. That's really where I have my biggest networking. So even if I'm not doing it personally every day, probably once a month, I'm a part of some sort of program or I'm going to some sort of conference where I make a lot of connections there.
That's really smart. I'm going to have a lot more follow-ups when we move into the professional side on referrals and things like that. but I do want to jump into the purpose of our show, the personal finance stuff. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and ask you about your personal financial education. So what has that looked like? Did you receive a formal personal financial education in college, in high school or something like that? Or did you have to seek it out yourself through reading various books and taking courses? What does your personal financial education look like?
So, of course, when it comes to a business administration degree, they're going to incorporate the finance in there to include accounting, which is not necessarily the numbers, but it is considered like a finance piece of your degree, which I absolutely hated. And I love, it's weird because it's like I love numbers. I've always been good at math. I love money, but I'm like, accounting is not that. Like, what is this? This is horrible. So I did absolutely terrible in accounting. And then when it came to like statistics and all those things, same thing. But with me, I really am self-taught. I am a super geek. I'm a nerd. I read, I listen to audiobooks, I watch YouTube. So I've read many books about finance when it's of interest or importance to me. Like, for example, Tax-Free Wealth is one of the books that really pivoted my understanding of how taxes work and how you can, really navigate that process. And so everything has really been self-taught, even though I was technically formally taught in college about finance. But everything else has been YouTube University and Sheena learning on her own. And again, with some of the programs that I participate in and some of the conferences, I'll attend those classes to get that type of education. But other than that, that's it.
I love it. We're really blessed to live in an age of YouTube University. Like, so much free content out there. You can search for anything, and probably there's a tutorial on how to do it, or somebody's talking about it. And yeah, it's great. I share your disdain for accounting. People, and I'm in finance. People are like, "Oh, you're in finance. You must, no." There's accounting and there's finance, and I cannot stand accounting. I cannot stand it.
Same. Yes.
I understand accountants look in the past. They use rules to make the books, get the books in order. And then finance people use projections and forecast out what things are going to happen. I am a finance guy. I'm looking to the future. What do sales need to be? How are we going to get there? I'm not too concerned about what has happened outside of what that data can be used for to inform reasonable expectations and forecasting. But yeah, accounting and finance, folks, listening, watching, two totally different things.
Different neighborhoods.
Different. The next question is a follow-up. So would you say that your YouTube University and your various books and things like that has been sufficient to getting you to where you want to be personally, your personal financial goals?
Oh, absolutely. So, to your point, like I didn't know anything about anything when it came to finance growing up. I didn't know how to save. I mean, I blew my money. When I first came in the Army, I blew my money in 2 days. I'll get paid on Friday and I didn't have any money by Sunday. Like I was one of those. So I had no understanding of credit or money whatsoever. I mean, probably the lowest amount of understanding that is humanly possible. That's how, and I'm proud to say that because I've come such a long way with how I just taught myself budget and things like that. So to your point about the accounting, I did finally find an accountant that really helps me understand how I can build my business based on the path. I mean, with government contracting, it's a little different. You kind of have to go that route because you have contracts and they're, multi-year and things like that. So I have to kind of use those to help my projections forward. So YouTube University has taught me how to do government contracting. I mean, I can never thank YouTube University enough for taking me to the promised land. And the books that I read, absolutely, read them again when I'm in a different point in my business, because you read it when you first start up and it's all cute idea, and then you get to a certain amount of money and then you read it again, and then when you want to scale, you read it again. So I really geek out on the books that are relevant to what I'm trying to do.
Good. Not so shameless plug. This is the entire point of Club Rhino Plus, because we understand that there is a huge gap in K through 12 and in undergrad and graduate curriculum when it comes to personal finances. Folks are engineers, they are medical doctors, they are attorneys, and they are not being taught sufficiently how to manage their personal finances. It doesn't matter what you do. If you stopped with a GED or if you have your PhD, you probably don't know how to handle your money. So we created Club Rhino Plus with 4 courses of self-guided content. It's really awesome stuff. It also gives folks access to myself. So after they've taken a course, there's a 30-minute consultation included, and we can discuss some of the concepts within the course. But it's all about helping people identify what their personal financial goals are and then how best to get to those goals. So yeah, we clearly see the need. You know, you were out there, young private, you know, it's Friday, it's payday.
Oh.
You know, Monday, where'd my money go? Right?
On.
Had it been there, you know, maybe we could have got after it a little bit sooner. But it's good to hear that you're on the right path now. For those listening and watching, if you don't feel like you're on the right path, go ahead and open a Club Rhino Plus account today. All right. Next question, I'm going to hit you with some data here. According to Indeed.com, the average salary for an entrepreneur is somewhere around $65,000 a year. All right. That is the average. I'm assuming because a majority of businesses fail within the first 3 years, and then you're like a legit business, you know, after 10 years, they're factoring in all that stuff, right? So the average salary for an entrepreneur is somewhere around $65,000 a year. Does this number resonate with you? And did you know statistics like this before you decided to go down the entrepreneurial path?
No, to both questions, I didn't even know there was I guess, yeah, you pay yourself, that's considered a salary, but I guess I never looked at it like I'm going on Indeed to see what the salary amount is. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So I've always done some sort of hustle, some sort of business. So I never looked at it like I need to make this amount of money. I was like, I'm trying to get to the money. So when it came to government contracting, I'm like, I'm trying to go to the moon. Like, I don't even have a dollar amount in my mind because everything is, you know, essentially based off of contracts. So that number, first of all, no, it doesn't resonate with me right now. That's like, that wouldn't even pay for my for the year. I mean, respectfully, but because I'm there now, you know what I mean? Like when you graduate, you can't go back. Like you cannot go back, you know? So it doesn't work for me now. Those were great numbers at some point in my life. Absolutely. As a business owner, I think you should always strive for whatever your ultimate goal is and not just settle on, okay, I need to make 65,000. It's more like, okay, what will build the lifestyle that I need? 65 may be it, but not it for me.
Yeah. So all those thinking about starting down this path of entrepreneurship, whatever you're researching right now, like what I just presented, use it as a planning number, right? Every industry is different with different numbers, startup costs, barriers to entry, all these different things. And then your lifestyle is different from someone else's. 65,000 may be decent for you after you've paid everybody else and then you pay yourself $65,000. So, you know, it really depends. Everybody's situation is different. In your case, you know, respectfully, you know, $65,000 isn't.
It's gonna cut it. That ain't gonna cut it.
That's all right. That's all right. With this statistic, I usually incorporate student loans, but instead of talking about the average student loan debt of an entrepreneur, I wanted to focus on how student loan debt is impacting entrepreneurship. So based on an article that I read by Inc., linked in the description of this episode, the percentage of people aged 20 to 34 who wanted to start a business fell from 34% to 27%, due in large part to concerns over paying back student loans. So my question to you is, did you face something similar, and how did you overcome it if you did? And what would you tell people just graduating with a bunch of student loan debt and wanting to pursue entrepreneurship?
Woo! I'm probably the worst person to ask. Well, for me, I had very little student loan debt because of the military, so I'm fortunate. But I did have some because I had like a little break in service and I did a little something, something, and I had some loans and I refused to pay them. So with that, I just kept deferring for eternity, and here I am almost 40 and I just kept deferring. But I would say I can imagine that it is a huge pain point, even if you're not a business owner. It's a huge pain point in general. The only advice I could ever give someone is to not do the student loans. I mean, there's a lot of scholarships out there. Even as adults, there's scholarships that you can apply for, even if you're on your second, third degree. Just try to go a different route and not get into that situation. But if you are in that situation, it doesn't really, I cautiously say, it doesn't really affect you if it's deferred. I mean, if you defer it, it's almost like it's on pause and it's hidden in the background. So that's not going to really affect your credit as much, of course, if it's in default and all those things. So if you have a $200,000 worth of student debt, you're definitely in a different position than someone that has 15,000. But really, if you can just find a way to, what did Biden do? Like, get rid of
Yeah, public service law forgiveness.
yeah, he forgives a lot of loans, so hopefully you'll fall into their hat or just avoid them, because it's almost like you can never really fully pay them off if you have a very, very high amount. So, like I said, I'm probably the worst person to ask about that, but defer. Don't do it or defer.
So, to the second part of the question, though, on allowing student loans to hinder someone's ability to start their entrepreneurial pursuit. And it doesn't really even have to be student loans. It could be anything. Like, what are some of the things that you would take pause on before you were to start any of your businesses? Or was there really nothing that would have prevented you from starting entrepreneurial pursuits?
Oh yeah, nothing would have stopped me. I mean, I started my business with like 4,000 in my savings account. And it was like, I mean, that's probably a lot to some people, but when you're talking about 6-figure contracts as your first contract, that wouldn't have done anything. That wouldn't have paid a single person on this project, not even for a day. So for me, I was just like, me and my friend joked because she made like $1 million in 10 months on her contracts with no money starting. Essentially, 4,000 is not a whole lot. And I said, now we're getting more cautious as we're more aware. But when we first started, we just said, YOLO, like, let's just figure it out on the way down. Build a plan on the way down, honey. Whatever happens, happens. So that's one of the little things that I kind of go back to, like, hey, it's going to work out. Like, I mean, you can't make decisions that are going to destroy your household, but just try to have the ambition and the forward thinking or the positive thinking that things are going to work out. So nothing could have stopped me because I've always done stuff. I did make smarter decisions this time. I did, build my business credit as I was getting started. That's another thing that, a lot of people don't really harp on. And I'm not a business credit expert, but there's a lot of things that you can do with business credit that you can't do with personal credit. And just, the power of the ask. Like, sometimes there's people that really will help you if you ask. And a lot of people feel like they shouldn't. But once you get to a certain dollar amount or certain revenue, then you'll find that a lot of people help a lot of people at a higher level. You're showing, I built my business to 7 figures. This person makes 8 figures. They're like, yeah, I'll lend you 50,000. Those are the friends that I have in my circle. Like, there should be no question. 50 grand, you'll get in a month. So help me out.
So it sounds like you stepped out on faith. You had a lot of belief in yourself to make this thing happen. And I think that's really, really critical. What I'll tell people especially the young people dealing with student loan debt, definitely research your options for deferral and weigh it against the probability of success for this venture. Talk to as many people as possible. There are always going to be people who are, trying to act in your best interest and tell you, hey, go get that job because you got those loans. Listen to those people, but don't only take into consideration what they have to say. Speak to somebody in the industry, speak to other entrepreneurs, ask them what they went through in dealing with whatever obstacles they had to overcome. It may not have been student loans, it may have been something else. And then make your decision based on those different data points. And that's just me, Cassian. As a personal financial planner, I would definitely tell you to open up some wealth management software, reach out to someone who specializes in assisting entrepreneurs, and allow that person to kind of be your silent partner, if you will. Give all the information that you can to them. They'll be able to ask you questions that you may not have considered so that you can better plan to start the venture. And then hopefully you'll see more success as a consequence of that planning. So yeah, there's a lot here. When I was reading this article, I was like, man, I see it all the time. I can't even imagine how many ideas don't even get off the ground because student loan is just crippling.
And so that to that point, like I'm saying, there's nothing that could stop me. I don't give a damn what I owe.
Right.
But other people who that I want to get it, especially government contracting, I want to get into it, but they really can't do it. Like they really don't have the mental capacity to do it. And I feel like everyone can do something, but everyone can't do everything. So you have to be real with yourself, even outside of getting the financial advice. Can I really do this? Like, do I like making pies every day? I don't know if you read E-Myth, where they talk about, Patty's pies and how she loved baking pies her whole life until she opened up a pie shop. She don't even want to smell pie. Like she hates pies with everything in her spirit. Like, okay, can you really do this? Stop kidding yourself. You're lying to yourself when you're like, I can do this. I want to do this, but you really don't. You really don't. Then it's going to fail regardless because it would have, no matter how much money you had, no matter how much investment you have, it will not succeed if you really don't want to do it. This business is very unsexy a lot of the time. And I still get up every single day, Sunday to Sunday, and go to the gym some of those days and get on this computer. I'm trying. Lord knows I'm trying. And then and after that, I'm on my computer doing something. I'm on my phone doing something. I'm building my brand. I'm building the business brand. I'm talking to my employees. I'm doing all these things because this is me. I am my business. My business is me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important that people know that, hey, you got to do this when it's not cute, when it's not sexy, when you don't feel like doing it,
Sound advice. All right. Next question. One of my favorite questions. What has been the most traumatic experience that you have had with money?
Whew, okay. So my company started in 2017, started off as a real estate company. And I actually was doing real estate before that. My husband bought me my first condo, and it was one of the worst investments ever made. A lot of things with condos that people don't understand, including me. And so it turned into government contracting because I built my portfolio up to like 7 houses in a very short period of time. I was wholesaling, flipping, landlord, and realized that I am too volatile to be a landlord. Like it's just, I wasn't doing it the right way. I was trying to give people chances. I was trying to do boarding house. I was doing all the wrong stuff. I did it backward. It was all bad. And so I would say,
Clients loved it.
I already know because you got real estate too, right? So you already know. So I would say, everything is a learning lesson. So I don't want to say it was traumatic, but having, property without the right education or once the thing about real estate is it's not that easy to get out of. Like it's one of those mistakes where you're like, okay, I'm in this and there's nothing I can do about it. And then it becomes traumatic. And that's kind of one of the biggest things is going through some of these issues with tenants. And I had gotten back up to one rental property, and I'm still taking it slow. Everyone's asking me, like, when are you going to get back into real estate? I'm like, I don't even know, because I'm still traumatized. And clearly I'm still traumatized from being a landlord. And my tenant I have is perfect. I don't hear a peep. I don't even know her name. Like, I got a property manager. So I would say when it comes to money, real estate was rough for me. But then also I've had many other businesses, and the trauma comes from not knowing what you're doing, like not really understanding you don't have to understand everything, but knowing what you're doing personally, knowing what you're doing, where you're going. Because there's other times I think about the other businesses that I had, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that even went anywhere. Like, that was not a good decision. It wasn't a good decision to quit my job and then go into the business full time when I didn't even really have like a plan for real. So I guess those are two things. Real estate, that was traumatic. And then not really knowing what you're doing when you're going into something. You don't have to have a fancy business plan, but you have to have some sort of understanding, some sort of plan, and knowing where this money is coming back to.
Well, I'll tell you, as a real estate investor, and as a financial planner who has a wealth management firm, Rhino Invest, built on real estate being the number one asset class, and we tell all of our clients, we tell anyone listening, that if you join the Rhino family, real estate is going to be in your portfolio more often than not. But it can be very traumatic if you don't have the financial literacy and IQ going in. You have to have that realistic expectation. I constantly tell folks, one of my favorite quotes, conflict occurs when there is a violation of expectation. And if you are expecting, the tenant to try to get over, then my goodness, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Traumatized.
I do have a crazy traumatic story myself. It involves one of my tenants subletting the property to someone else who ended up being a drug dealer, and then I had a DEA raid. It was very exciting stuff.
Exciting is the perfect word.
All right, yeah, that is very traumatic. I can only imagine getting into. I'm assuming these were like C-class properties.
F, what's the lowest? F, Z, double Z, like in the hood. And I was like, no, the neighborhood's gonna build up. And of course, eventually it did. Yeah. But it wasn't built. It wasn't built up when it wasn't built up when we were there. It was like,
Did you ever have to like go and collect rent, or like did you? Lord, I'm bringing it all back.
Not personally. It was so bad that my property manager, she also was a real estate agent, and one of the tenants filed like some kind of complaint. It was like one little loophole that she missed, and it actually like had her license suspended, her real estate license suspended. The tenants, they get real smart when it comes to certain things. One set the thermostat on fire in the middle of January. Like, it was just, the stories go on. Don't take me back there. I
didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it.
No.
I'm not trying to drive your therapy bill up.
Yes.
Drive the therapy bill up.
Yeah.
It can get interesting. It makes for very good dinner conversation when it's not super traumatic, when you can laugh at it, when decades have gone by and you're like, it's safe, it's cool.
I'm taking my time to get back into real estate. I love real estate. It's what taught me, you know what I mean? It's just, and I appreciate people who do really well. There's some people who manage all their own properties. Do you manage all yours?
Yeah.
Like 20, 30 properties and manage them. I can't even manage the one. I'm like, I don't even want to know my tenant's name. Forgive me for how I am, but that's how I am.
You could do it. You're just traumatized. That's all right. You could do it. You're just it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay. Right. Pressure point.
Yeah. Pressure point. All right. So, before we transition to the professional side of the conversation, I want to take a moment to share with the audience of publications that you've recently been featured in. So the first one is the Atlanta Small Business Network, where you answer questions about how to get started in government contracting. The next is the Aggie, which is Texas A&M's newspaper, where you're discussing managing people, building systems, and growing a business. And then the last one that I'll mention here is the Black Enterprise, where you were featured for washing 43,035 seats. They quoted that in the title of the article in preparation for the 2022 World Series. So this is, you're not just some random person. You're out here doing things, you know what I'm saying? You're in articles, you're being interviewed by several people. This is really exciting stuff. As an entrepreneur, this is exactly what you want to be doing, getting your name out there, letting folks know that, your business is profitable and you're growing. I have a couple of questions. The first one is on the Aggie article, talking about managing people, building systems, and growing a business. I think this is obviously one of the most critical things that any entrepreneur has to know how to do. Because if you're going to grow to a certain place, you have to know how to build systems, manage people in order to grow that business. So can you kind of talk to us about some of the systems that you use that have been most successful, that allowed you to grow that business?
Well, as far as like software systems, we use Asana, we use Slack, and we use G Suite. That's pretty much our home. We've used many other things that came and went, but just with what we do, that works for us. And we're always kind of exploring other things, but really, the main thing that I realized in comparison to other businesses, because when I first started government contracting, it was me by myself. I mean, I was writing everything, I was doing everything, and I had one contract, and I was the only employee. And then I hired my daughter. She was 14 at the time, but she was doing like writing my stuff for me. It was literally filling in documents, but she did a fantastic job. But then, you become heavily reliant on another person doing a portion. So then you go into, okay, what's my next best hire? Because I had other people, I realized there were several things that I really needed. I needed the person to work 9 to 5. And usually when you have a virtual assistant, they're either overseas or they work the hours that they want to work. And I realized that did not work for me. I had to be very clear about what I wanted. And I had to be clear on the way I communicate. Because if you call me 17 times a day, we're not going to have a good relationship. I'm not a phone person, and this is not going to work. And I've actually gotten rid of people because they call too much. So, those types of things, they sound so simple, but then they end up not working efficiently for you or for your company. So just really picking my next best hire every time we got to a certain point made it very easy for me to grow and keep the people that I have and get such excellent people. Like a lot of my friends, like, oh my goodness, I need whatever. Like my program manager's name is Caitlin. I need a Caitlin, I need a Kendra, I need a Eric, like all the people that are on my team. It's because I'm very careful in how I choose my team because I know how I am. So that makes me, a lot of people have come and went. So with that, I ask like, hey, are you okay with these systems? Are you okay with that's another thing when we're actually using the software systems that we use. Can you use these things? And, that's a real key part of the interview, like the best way that you communicate, all these things. It's so simple, but a lot of people will skip that part because they're looking at the resume of a person saying, I'm just going to get someone off of Fiverr. I'm going to get someone off of Upwork. I'm like, I didn't did all that. I did it all. It didn't work. I had to like really follow these steps and take my time hiring. For example, my program manager, she started off as an admin. Then she went to a capture manager. Then she went to a project manager. Then she went to a program manager. The people I interviewed were fantastic. Like I can't even repeat that, like how great these applicants were. But I just had to have that real connection with the person that I hired. And she's been with me for, a few years now.
This is so important. Human capital is so important because a bad hire can set you back in a big way.
Do you keep dreaming about when you'll be able to pursue your passions? It can be challenging to turn that dream into reality while providing quality care to your patients, addressing your student loans, and living a comfortable life. I'm Cassian Nunez, the CEO of Rhino Invest, and I'm here to share a better way, the Rhino way, which will make you financially independent sooner so that you can start to do more of what you are actually passionate about. Just to be clear, financial independence is achieved when your passive income exceeds your expenses, freeing you to pursue your passions, be it the ER job you love, helping your community through volunteer work, or becoming a world traveler. In other words, you are no longer trading your time for money to keep food on the table and pay your bills. So, what is the Rhino Way? It is the roadmap to achieving financial independence using the 4 guideposts of real education, investments in performing assets, no bad debt, and oversight of those assets. Our Rhino account provides products and services as a pathway to achieving your goals at a pace you set and in an environment with other like-minded people, all focused on lighting a fire in their financial plan. Becoming a Rhino will increase your financial IQ by making you familiar with the concept of risk and return, the different asset classes available for investment, and how you can take advantage of those options immediately. You'll have access to curated courses, online calculators, wealth guides, checklists, and your own net worth tracker. All this and more with your Rhino account. So I invite you to take the first step towards realizing your goals by opening an account today. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to working with you.
The net hire can set you back in time, increases stress, so many other things outside of just costing you money, right? So it sounds like we both learned the same way. We went to Fiverr, we went to Upwork, we went to all these other sites to try to find a virtual assistant to do this, that, and the third. Maybe we didn't do our due diligence as entrepreneurs in creating that scope of work, which would have allowed some of those people to be successful in those roles. But other times it was just, we weren't able to adequately assess if this person was going to be a good fit, not just in their technical expertise, but in the culture. And a company does have a culture, even if it just has the one employee. It's you. Like, what is it that you are bringing to the table, and is this other person going to complement that? So yeah, I'm with you. Like, it's a learning process, but once you have it down, it becomes so much easier. Once you've created that checklist of all the questions you need to ask, you know, based on where this person is in the world, do they have the right internet speed? You know, I learned that the hard way. I don't know why I didn't ask after the 5th.
I know.
I don't know why. Like, I should probably not.
You assume that they've been functioning their whole, their professional. Good internet.
And you don't ask. You just make the assumption because your internet works, the interview seems to be working. You know, there's no lagging here, and then you get a month in and they're just constantly crashing. So it's just like,
yeah, that's frustrating.
It's a lot. I'm assuming too. Then you would say that the folks that you've brought into your team have been the most critical part to allowing you to grow that business. It's not like a technical system or software, it's the people.
Yeah, because we've had even brought operation software expert. We brought in a 2 or 3 of those, right? Expert, they say, to replace certain. You're picking up what I'm putting down, right? So, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna pay the money. I'm gonna get the people that understand my business, and we're gonna use these systems to make it easier for everyone. And it's really like, just this industry is really, it's hard to just use systems. You really have to use people. And maybe because I'm in facility maintenance as well, that adds an extra layer. Maybe if I was in IT doing government contracting, it might be a little easier. But in my industry, there's human to human contact all of the time. So these people that I have, brought me business. They're just my everything, you know, and they love being a part of the team. I mean, I always go to Delaware and Philly because we have contracts in Delaware and Philly, and that's where one of my main managers are, and it's close to my other two managers. They can drive up. So I just came back from there last week, and they're like, we had the best time ever, you know, like kids. And I'm like, dang, you know, all we did was just do the regular stuff.
Yeah.
They just look amazing. I love you to death. And I'm like, I really did this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just gotta have that moment, like I really, and it was very special. So, my team is fantastic. Our culture, we weeded out some people. Our culture right now is solid.
That's good. You know, yeah, I definitely picked up the air quotes on experts. I can't stand marketers, marketing experts. Oh my goodness.
I got lucky. I got a good marketing expert because she's actually she's a personal friend of mine. She did a lot of stuff for me, but I've been, you know, with the other ones before that. And it's rough. It's definitely rough.
Watch out, all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there who are thinking about expanding and growing their teams. You know, it is imperative that when you are interviewing somebody, maybe have more than one interview. It is okay, right? It is okay to take your time in this process. Really understand what your scope of work is. What is it that you want this person to do? And evaluate them based on their ability to do that, in addition to the culture fit and things like that. And then
I believe inspiring slow too sometimes.
I'm all about failing fast now. I'm all about failing fast. Like, it's not working. It's not working.
I'm a chance giver. I'm a chance giver. I do give chance. And you know what? Sometimes my chance giving has worked in my benefit, and other times it hasn't. So I guess it really just depends on how you feel in that, with that situation, and how bad it is, I guess.
Look, I ain't got it. I got it. I think it's industry dependent, right? Because in some of these positions, if you mess up, that's someone's personally identifiable information that you're missing.
True. Someone's life. That's very true.
You know, people's money. We're not selling coffee mugs. I tell my team this all the time, you know, especially the marketing team, when, you know, they're creating or copywriting some content and it's not grammatically or syntactically correct, or it violates a FINRA regulation on trying to make a guarantee. You know, if you follow these 5 steps, you're definitely like, we don't sell coffee mugs. They hear me say this all the time. We don't sell coffee mugs, right? We have all these rules and regulations that are surrounding us in this field, and we have to adhere to them. In addition, it's just not professional because you only have one opportunity to make a good first impression. And so you have to get it right every single time in this field. So yeah, like we could go on like this.
I would love to see you interact with your team. That would be really,
I was thinking about recording one of our meetings because our meetings are pretty fun. They're orderly, but they're fun. Like everybody's conversing and throwing out, you know, ideas and stuff. And sometimes I tell them all the time too, I love data. If you want to convince me of something, bring data.
show me the numbers. Show me the numbers.
If you don't have any data, we're just going to go with my opinion. Like that, we're just going to go with what I feel. So if you want to get whatever it is published, bring the facts, data, and statistics. I'm more often than not going to listen to that. But yeah, we have a good time. We have a good time over here around on this.
I would love to see it.
So my next question, how did you land this contract to help prepare for the 2022 World Series?
Interestingly enough, one of the guys that, I don't want to go too far back, but I won a contract for the state of Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew nothing about Delaware. I'm from Massachusetts. I didn't even know where Delaware was on the map, but we were just bidding.
Yep.
So it's crazy. That's like, I can't believe I did that. Won a contract in Delaware. And if you don't know, Philly is about 30 from Wilmington, which is like one of the top, the closest to the line. Yeah. So I reached out to a friend. He lived in Philly that I knew. I'm like, hey, you do janitorial? Da, da, da. He's like, no, I got someone that can do it for you. Hired that guy. That guy has been fantastic, right? We're doing Delaware. So, and he was actually kind of doing mediocre. He was doing good, but there was some things that he wasn't doing that I needed him to do. So he almost was fired. Like he was this, I'm talking, hanging by a thread. All my friends that I asked, get rid of him now. Get him out of here. And I was like, let me just give him one more chance. So boom, give him another chance. And he picked it up. He's doing fantastic. And so since he lives in Philly, he has his own company and he has a legacy company. Like his grandfather started a company. He works, with that. So he's a staple in Philly, and he was connected to the Philadelphia Phillies stadium. And so the way that it's like a office a sports park where it's like the football stadium is there, the baseball stadium is there, and the hockey, I guess. And so he was like, hey, we could do pressure washing for the Philadelphia Phillies stadium. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not even conceptualizing what he's saying. And we got it. And they had, what's it called, staffing agencies there, pressure washing, because after every game and after every concert, they need someone to literally clean the entire thing. And so we got it. We were getting people in there. I mean, like, it was just so fast. I didn't even really have a chance to react. And they loved us. They pushed the other staffing agents companies out. And now my guy is doing Delaware and Philly. Like, he is, he's the guy. Holding it down. And so when it comes to the article, because his family has like a media company, it was actually that Black Enterprise interview. The article is from the news station. The 6 ABC Philly news station did an interview with me right here in my office, and it turned into a Black Enterprise and a Yahoo Finance article. And I was like, what? It just kind of like, everything just always happens so fast, because you're like, oh, it's no big deal. And then it's a big, and it just so happened to be during the World Series. And it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, these are my peeps. These are my peeps that are cleaning these stadiums. And I've had people message me on Facebook saying, I've noticed this a lot cleaner. Thank you for what you do. And it's like, this is great. So he kind of just sealed that deal. Long story short. I'm
sure you were really humble about it. Yeah, this is what we do. We clean, we make sure everything is on the up and up. Everything's fine here at Foresight Industries. Nothing but the best.
They must have heard it. That's like literally how it sounded. The exact audio of how it sounded.
Okay. So a follow-up question on this. With us being in the military, I kind of took how we do evaluations. We do them quarterly, and then there's an annual, and then, that's how we're evaluated. And I love evaluations because I think it's an opportunity to share with my supervisor and my leadership what it is that I'm struggling with and what it is that I hope to do, and ask for their assistance in being able to do those things. So I love being evaluated, and I love evaluating others to give them the feedback so that they can improve. And so when I heard you talk about how close Buddy was to losing everything, being fired, gone, right? I wanted to ask, like, how did you inform him in order for that performance to improve? What was that conversation like?
Yeah, I was nervous. He's older. I mean, not that really matters, but sometimes it does. It's we met in person and in a park. Like, it was one of those. I had my notepad, like, well, according to this, you did not do this. Like, I'm a nervous wreck because I don't want him to choke me out. I didn't know what he was gonna do. But it was. I explained the things that my expectations and what we kind of agreed to. He came in on a whim. It wasn't like I went on Indeed and hired him. He was connecting to friend of a friend. So I had the expectations. I laid them out. He was writing down the notes. And I had hired someone else to kind of help him. And then in that moment, he said, get rid of her. I'm stepping it up. And you can also cut my pay. I was like, well, sure. I mean, oh. There was something that went into why I had to cut his pay and that he agreed to have the pay cut. But it was one of those, like, he is really down for foresight. Like, he's down for the cause, and I'm going to give him another chance. I just want it to be successful. And really, truly, I don't know how I could have done it without him, really. So, I would have had to do a lot of other things. So it's like, well, if I can he's at 70%. If I can fine tune him and get him up to at least 97%, it's a win. It's a total win. And this is before Philly. So, it proved to be true because he got me more business,
Yep.
So yeah, it was one of those scary conversations. I had to be a big girl and just say, hey, do this. And he took it well.
Excuse me, sir. I have one or two issues that I need to address with you post haste.
Exact audio. That's how.
That's funny. Yeah, it is nervous when you do it for the first time. Honestly, I don't know that has gotten easier for me, having to deliver negative feedback or constructive criticism or whatever you want to call it, because you never know how the other person's going to react. You hope that they view it as constructive criticism and look at it as an opportunity to improve, right? But in the back of your mind, you're like, is this person going to try to are they a sinister person? Are they going to try to sabotage? Are they going to launch out? Are they going to make this bigger than it really is? So.
I mean, I've had people that were completely just clueless about real life. Like there's no fault. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm doing it wrong. It's like, what? It makes you think that you're crazy. And so when I coach them, they're like, how dare you treat me? I'm like, wow, you haven't been to work in like a week. Like, what do you mean? Like, how do you not get that right? So it's that, yeah, there's some people who you're like, wow, there's really a lot of people that you see where they are because they just have no response. They don't take any responsibility for anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is.
Okay, next question. What do you most and least look forward to about being an entrepreneur?
I guess when you get to a certain point, you won't be working 24/7. Sometimes I don't want to make a lot of decisions. So even when I go out to eat, I'm like, I don't even want to make a decision because I'm making decisions all day. So that's one of the things that is a struggle, especially when you go out with other entrepreneurs. Everybody's saying the same thing. They're like, no, you pick. No, you pick. And we're all like, I don't want to make a decision today. So that's one thing that I kind of don't like about this 24/7 thing. And then not really having the off button. I'm solving problems in my sleep. So that's, can go on to be unhealthy. But of course, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. I'm at a totally different level now. So it's like I'm really a business owner. So I love that if I do want to take a day off, there's consequences, but I can take a day off. I'm the boss. You know what I mean? If I need to move a meeting, I can move the meeting. I'm the boss. And I don't even try to have that attitude like I'm the boss, but I'm in control of really my income and my time, so that is like absolutely the most important, dopest, awesomest part of being a business owner / entrepreneur.
Yeah, being in control of your time, I think, is probably the most important thing that anybody can hope to achieve. Time is so valuable. You hear it all the time, but you don't really know what it means until you actually have control of it and you can make decisions. You no longer have to get up Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. to prepare to go into work and start your work at 9, and then you get your lunch break, and then you get off, and then you have some time to yourself. All that is gone, right? On the flip side, though, when things are falling apart and somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, you have to jump in and cover down. You have to make those decisions. You have to have good critical decision-making skills because, the buck stops with you as the entrepreneur and the leader of the organization. But yeah, that time thing is so critical. And then also being in control of your own income. Most people, I would assume, would think, well, if you're in control of your income, why wouldn't you just work until you're making 30, 40, $50 million a year? What do you say to those people?
Well, you can. I mean, like you said, if you're selling coffee cups, it's probably going to take you a lot longer to get 30 million than it will for government contracting. I can get to 30 million essentially tomorrow if I bid on the right thing. So, for me, what I really think it all boils down to your exit plan, because I really I never thought about an exit plan. Went through the Goldman Sachs program, like I stated, and they said you're going to die in your business, pass it down, sell it, or I think those were the main three. Like sell it, pass it down, or die in it, essentially. And I was like, those are not good options. Like, what you talking about? So I'm like, okay, if I'm building my business to sell, when you backward plan that, it's like, okay, is there a dollar amount I'm trying to get to? Is there an age I'm trying to get to? Is there a certain, income for me that I'm trying to get to? My kid's age? What does that really look like? And so you can work until infinity. I mean, there's a lot of people who do that. Warren Buffett still goes into work and they tell him to take his behind home, and he still goes into work every single day. So, for me, that's not my personal goal, but I know I want to get to an age, and whatever that number is in this business, I'm done at 45. Like that, it's a wrap.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It was supposed to be 40, but COVID kind of shit it up. So 45, I'm going to be, do a garden.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question, what are some employee benefits enjoyed by folks in the entrepreneurial space? So when I ask this question, usually it's of a more defined profession, like an engineer or a teacher. These professions that have 401ks that are employer-sponsored plans, they have some sort of a match. We have it in the TSP, and stuff like that. So being an entrepreneur, right, you got to make your own benefits package. You have to, depending on the size and scope, provide some of these benefits to your employees and things like that. And there are also some really awesome things that we get to take advantage of that people who are W-2 do not get to take advantage of. So can we talk a little bit about what the employee benefits are, and not just the retirement specific stuff, but like the health plans and all the other benefits that come along?
For my employees?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have an executive team, and then I have, and half of my executive team are contractors. And then I have 20 regular employees or laborers, if you will. Well, one's salaried. So we don't offer the best benefits package. Mm-hmm. So that's just being honest. We do healthcare, and of course I'm looking to do more of the 401k with matching, but we're just not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. And what also bonuses. So I'm getting more of an understanding of how I can get my employees bonuses and what that actually means. Like if they bring me business, do they get a bonus? Everyone get a bonus at the end of the year, and how that's rolled out exactly. So that's something that we actually talked about for this quarter.
Okay. In terms of planning for your retirement, are you setting up like a solo 401k for yourself in order to take advantage of it being Roth, those tax benefits? Or are you more of the, I'm going to grow this thing, I'm going to sell it big, and then I'm not going to need any of these traditional vehicles because I'm going to have so much money, I'm going to be able to use that? What does your retirement plan look like there?
See, when you say it, it just sounds like it's almost like unrealistic. But that is pretty much my goal because I'm just retired. So I had my civilian TSP and my military TSP. So I'm like, well, really, and I have a friend that just became a subcontractor under me. He was also a DoD civilian and was military. And so he was like, well, I got this, 5 figures in my TSP. I'm gonna, I'm scared to let that go for starting this business. I said, dude, you're gonna make millions of dollars. Like, why? Like, why are you worried about a damn, excuse my language, why are you worried about a TSP? Because that's only to build up for you to retire. But if you're gonna make the money, so to your point, I'm just kind of like, I believe that I'm gonna have the money that I need based on my projections and based on the way my business is scaling now.
I did not mean to make it seem like it's unrealistic. I actually said it so that you can make the point, so that I can reiterate the point.
Okay.
As it is a part of an entrepreneur's plan in most cases to grow the business to a place where they can sell and then take the proceeds and retire. It is not a traditional path. All these folks, well, what about your 401k? Well, what about your HSA? Well, what about your, health benefits? Like, how are you going to get to 65 so you can get Medicare? You're not concerned about that when your net worth is $15 million, right? You're not concerned about these things. So it's one of those things where you're able to think so far outside of the box that things like retirement need to be retaught. Because some stuff that we're trained as W-2 is, I got to get that match. Oh, right. That high deductible plan. Let me put something aside in my HSA. I got to get to 65 because that's when the Medicare kicks in. So I got to make sure that I got enough in my HSA to bridge the gap in between me retiring early and getting the, you don't worry about that stuff as an entrepreneur. Your plan is totally different. It's more focused on providing things so that you can continue to work and produce so that the business can grow to a point where you sell it and then your net worth is such that you can retire. I think a great analogy here to keep it in personal finance would be when you look at insurance. I talk to people a lot about life insurance, and I've talked time and time again with people who are telling me about their whole life insurance policy and about the benefits of it being for life. And I'm like, that sounds all fine and good, but if you grow your net worth to a place, you won't need to be concerned about what you're going to give your heirs in death because your net worth will be so big, you'll be able,
and then
and you can have beneficiaries in your trust, and you'll be fine, right? So I'm really trust. An attorney is supposed to do your estate planning, so I just partner people, but I talk a lot about trust. If you go to our YouTube channel, I educate people on how to use trusts, because you can use them in a whole host of ways. Land trust, I use those for real estate. Trust for your children, trust to protect your assets and provide anonymity. There are a whole host of things, but I do not write trust.
No, that's good. I'm glad to know about YouTube University. For sure.
Get on there. And that's for anybody who wants to know a little bit more about trust. We do have videos out on trust and the importance of estate planning in general. But yeah, like, blow it up. Go hard at the paint. Increase the value of this company. Sell it. Have your net worth be in excess of millions of dollars and live the life that you want to live.
Yes.
That is good. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So now we are going to get into my favorite segment of the show. So you think you're smarter than a rhino. So there are 6 questions here. 5 of them are personal finance related. These are not textbook definitions per se. Some of them are, some of them are not. But this is the information that rhinos know. If you open a Clever Rhino Plus account, this is how we teach people about personal finance in order to increase their financial literacy and IQ. All right, so, good faith effort is what we ask for. And that's it. And that's it. We're thinking about incorporating a phone a friend or something like that. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
I think so.
You think so? All right, we'll take it. First question. What are the 4 types of asset classes?
Can I get one of them or?
You cannot.
Oh Lord. A rhyming thing. I feel like I'm not gonna do that well on this.
There is no mnemonic device. Sorry.
Hold on. Let's see. Didn't say I couldn't look it up. 4 types.
You are the first person to do this, though. We're gonna have to. This ain't right. This ain't.
Look crazy.
Listen, you're doing this. This may not even be a textbook definition, so you might be wrong anyway.
I feel like this is gonna help me at least jog my memory. Physical, intangible. Yeah. So
Until you name the 4.
okay. Physical, intangible, operating, and non-operating. Final answer.
Physical, tangible, operating, intangible, operating, non-operating. All right. That is not correct. The answer is real estate, commodities, securities, and business.
I knew that.
All right. Question number 2.
Oh gosh.
What is the maximum contribution that you can make to a 401k in 2022?
I feel like I know this one. 6K, 12K, 6 or 12K, 11K.
Which one is it?
12K.
All right, so that is not correct. The answer is $20,500. I think you were thinking of an IRA, and that's 6. All right.
I am not. Listen.
Question number 3. What is the equation for achieving financial independence?
I feel like these are trick questions. This is like regular stuff.
This is regular stuff for rhinos.
For rhinos, see, I'm already behind. Okay. Not trading your time for dollars.
Correct. We're gonna accept that. The equation is when passive income exceeds your expenses, you're considered financially independent. When you no longer have to trade your time for money and live your life, you are financially independent. So we are gonna give that to you.
Thank you. Whoa. I need a bonus question. Already.
We may incorporate bonus questions too. Question number 4. When thinking about real estate investment properties, what does the IRS allow you to do that can result in a passive loss? Number 1, it's multiple choice. Claim repairs and maintenance expenses as a deduction. Number 2, claim $2,000 in marketing expenses. Number 3, claim property taxes. Number 4, claim depreciation. Or number 5, all of these things can contribute to a passive loss.
All of these things. I was going to say depreciation, but all of these things.
That is not correct.
So it's depreciation. Depreciation.
It's $300. No, yeah.
The $2,000, I was like, no, that's not it. But that's definitely not it. But there was another that I was like, wait a minute, that sounds like.
So this is where it gets people, because we say passive loss. If you actually take the deduction because you have repairs and maintenance, that is an active.
That's the one. Gotcha. Okay. Yes, that makes sense.
Claiming property taxes, you pay property tax. That is an active loss. $2,000 is an arbitrary number, but you can claim marketing expenses. But again, that's active. Depreciation is that only phantom loss that the IRS allows you to take that can contribute to a passive loss. So it is number 4, depreciation. All right. Question number 5. How many federal tax brackets are there? And I guess a bonus question could be if you could name the percentages, each bracket.
Oh, tax bracket. 5.
Is that your final answer?
4 is my final answer.
7,
10%,
10%, 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%, 35%, and 37%.
Yeah, I never got that. It took me 10. It took me 10 years to get my degree too. So,
But you know what? That information isn't on the degree.
it is.
But now update. So we don't even need to. You know what I'm saying? We don't even need to know all that. But you're probably only familiar with the top tax brackets anyway. That's what I thought you were gonna say. I only know about the top tax brackets, so I don't know about these lower tax brackets.
No, I don't even act like that. You know, it's so funny because like when I go to learn something, I'm locked in. I become like a super nerd. But like something about the taxes and accounting, it won't stick. I'm like, I've done all these things, and I'm still like, I don't even know what y'all talking about. So it's one of my strong weaknesses.
Taxes are tough, and as a financial planner, I'm like the coach of a team. I don't do it all. I have to have a CPA in order to assist people with our tax strategies. I have to have an attorney in order to assist people with our estate planning, right? I need someone who's good in insurance because there's more than just life insurance. There's disability insurance, there's home insurance, property insurance, right? Auto insurance, all these different types of insurances that people need to have, and you need to make sure you have the right coverages and things like that. So you got to have an insurance guy. And then I'm focused primarily on the retirement and the investment planning while incorporating all those other aspects of financial planning. So yeah, taxes are tough. And thank goodness I have a tax person on the team because it is
Right. Right. Whew. So yeah, I remember it's rough.
yes. Question number 6. What is the Rhino acronym? Yeah, you didn't even know that Rhino Rhino was an acronym, did you? Yeah, it is.
Real estate. Hold on, wait a minute. Real something investments, net worth. I don't know. I'm sorry.
You only got 2 more letters.
How do you spell Rhino? RHINO, right?
Take the H out. It's just RINO in Rhino Invest.
Real estate, investment, net worth, and operations. I don't know.
And operations? Is that your final answer?
Pretty certain operations is wrong, but final answer.
All right. So that is not correct. Real education. Investments in performing assets. No bad debt and oversight of those assets. So we got to make sure that people have real education because there's a lot of fake education out there. You go to TikTok, you watch somebody's 30-second spiel, and you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Scout's honor. That is not real financial education. I promise. Investments in performing assets. There's a big difference between a performing and a non-performing asset. Your home is an asset, but it is not performing. You are not making money from the home you live in. It is a use asset. And so you're actually losing money by paying the mortgage if you have one, but definitely by paying taxes, insurance, and the maintenance fees, right? but there's equity usually in your property, so it sits on your balance sheet as an asset. We encourage people to purchase performing assets, things that put money in their pocket so that they can achieve financial independence. It's that passive income exceeding your expenses that's going to get you to financial independence. No bad debt. You got to get rid of it. If you got credit card debt, that's a no-go. If you got student loans, that's a no-go. We got to get rid of that as quickly as possible so that we can add more fuel to the fire in purchasing those performing assets. And then oversight. You got to know what questions to ask your financial planner. It's obviously, I encourage people to get a financial planner. I'm in the business of financial planning, but you should never trust wholeheartedly anyone with your retirement. You're not just trusting them with your money. You're trusting them with what the money's going to do, which is
Right.
you retire, right? And do whatever it is you're actually passionate about. And in order to do that, you got to have a financial literacy and IQ level that is such that will allow you to ask the pertinent questions so that you get the right answers. So yeah, real education, investments in performing assets, no bad debt, oversight of those assets is what we're understanding.
I got it now. Think
We thank you for playing.
I did. Did I do the worst out of everyone you've ever?
No,
No.
no, not
Got
even.
one right.
Exactly. You got one full one right. So, and I really feel like had I said 401k again, you might have got 401k because you were quick with that 6, because you were thinking IRA. You were quick with that 6. But yeah, I think you did fairly well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. This is fun. I really appreciate this.
Likewise, there's nothing like talking to friends about important topics like personal finance. Also wanted to give you an opportunity to engage in some shameless plugs. What is it that you would like our audience to know about you? You got a lot going on. Where can people, see about you, learn from you, talk to you, whatever, what have you?
Yeah, so I'm on all the social medias, Sheena Parker on LinkedIn and on IG and TikTok, because TikTok I have a love-hate relationship, but Sheenapreneur, and I also have a government contracting course where I take you from cradle to wedding. I don't like to say cradle to grave, cradle to wedding on how to set up your government contracting business, even choosing a business name that's corporate sounding and setting up your LLC and submitting for SAM.gov. I teach you about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. And of course, I have something for my veterans.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people will take advantage of that. Again, thank you. And until next time.
Till next time, thank you so much. Appreciate it.